Race fans, good evening and welcome to Redline Racing Network as the long-awaited return of the Dynasty Racing League is finally here tonight, back where they belong, Saturday nights in primetime. Matt Metler up in the Redline Racing Network as this field is set, ready to rock and roll from the high banks of Daytona. If you guys last used to watch DRL on SRM, this is a little bit of the old star power with a little bit of a reinvigorated lineup, recharged, reloaded, ready to rock and roll as we are set for 100 laps here from the World Center of Speed. That field now starts to roll behind that iRacing.com pace car. Let's go ahead and pull up tonight's race information so you folks at home can follow along. This track advertises a 2.50 mile super speedway. However, clocks in at 2.48 miles. Track temperature is going to have all the grip in it tonight at just 76 degrees Fahrenheit. 7 degrees ambient air temperature, a little on the humid side, 70% water drain in the air. That may limit horsepower production just a little bit. Overcast skies as that sun is no longer beating on the asphalt, really mitigating that track temperature. However, it's really not too hard on those Dr. Feelgoods. 11 miles an hour, gusting to 15 at times. That could be a silent force these drivers are going to have to deal with, especially coming off the turns 3 and 4 complex, as this is the 2008 configuration. So it's going to be like a wooden roller coaster out there. Hopefully these drivers are prepared, have their steering ratio set right, because this track will wear you out even in the sim form. As those lights go out on that iRacing.com pace car. Let's go ahead and get the timing tower up for you guys this evening so you can follow along with us at home. Farnsworth newcomer outside of Brandon Broby in the 45 ride. James Pandoff, the HMFIC, going to roll off in that 4th place position. Hickson, a newcomer as well, going to roll off P5 here. Only thing left to do now is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Race fans, let's get ready to rumble here in prime time. And what a huge jump by Farnsworth. Got to be careful here. You don't get too good of a restart as those cars will team up behind you and freight train you. He's going to jump up to the outside of the racetrack here. He may have to dodge a pretty big run as these guys are going to have a head of steam, especially on the bottom. These guys are really formed up on the low line. Let's see how the 42 reacts to this. Wow, does a great job here. I thought for sure he might have got freight trained. However, those two cars on the outside, not going to be a factor to the 42. And Donald Hickson Jr. in the 8. Look at those guys go as they have shot out of a cannon on this restart. Really showing you here early what two cars can do when they hook up together. Digging the EA Sports throwback paint scheme on that race car. Ooh, a little bit of self-inflicted concrete poison there on the high side of the racetrack. No harm, no foul. The 45 ride, he's going to pull out and now merge with that high lane. Or excuse me, that's DJ Daniel on the high side of the racetrack. If that's the DJ Daniel I'm thinking of, these boys better watch out. This field may be in trouble. This guy blocks everything. The grass, the grandstands. He has pulled off some amazing finishes at Daytona. Could be part of the reason why he didn't tell me he was going to be out there in competition. Perhaps he wanted to shock me up with the broadcast booth. Big time move from the 97 at Carter. He's going to turn it down, eat it hard on the bottom. Oh, that's a move. That's DJ Daniel driving that 29. There's only one person I know who throw moves like that. This race, or this early in a race. The 8 giving all the business there on the bottom of the racetrack. These guys are throwing haymakers at each other. It's only lap 3 of this thing. How about Matt Sizzler there? Sizzle time already up 7 spots from where he started. Leading the charge on the outside line. In fact, let's jump on board with Sizzle time. From Auburn Hills, he leads the charge on the high side of the racetrack. You can see just how close quarters the battling is here at speeds of over 200 miles an hour. Remember, this isn't the next-gen race car. This is the Gen 4, the car from the NASCAR golden era. And these things give you everything you spent your money's worth, even inside the cockpit of this race car. You can see how he is just battling that car through the corners, working just a mere inches off of those cars to the inside. In fact, there, let's throw it over to the GoPro camera here. As you can see just how close he is getting to that John Deere 97 received power by Carter. Now the 29 Ryan Daniel is going to come up. Look for a big-time push here on the high side of the racetrack. That push from Sizzler is going to put Daniel out in front for the lead momentarily, but that 97 really does a good job of maintaining his momentum on the bottom. And that Ford Taurus, you know, not even with any help at times, as there was a moderate amount of separation between him and the EA rod. Ooh, the 5 ride there. There's Bryce Breuer in the 5 machine. Great to see him back in competition. He's another one of the OGs from DRL. And again, this league went on hiatus back in September of 2023. So for me personally, this has been a long-awaited return to some of the best Gen 4 racing you will see on the iRacing servers. Dave Acacia back there in that 17 machine. He just went fastest lap of the race, a 45.45. That's absolutely flying. He told me don't look for him to go up front or be a non-factor. He just wants to turn laps. And I think that was a little bit of sarcasm. It's Daytona. You know if you put a car out here on the racetrack, you want to win it. In fact, let's go on board with Dave. See how he gets around this place. From Jackson, New Jersey out here, you can see just how this track is going to bump, wind, and grind you. Especially if you got a lot of force feedback in your wheel or some of the newer direct drives, that will eat you up over the course of 100 laps here tonight. Dave currently running in that 10th place position now, just cracked the top 10. These cars doing the jig on the bottom and the high side of the racetrack. These straightaways, it's a great, almost like a break for these drivers. They kind of let their arms take a break for a minute and gear up for another treacherous beating here into the corner. Go on board now with Taylor Butcher Benjamin. The PA man, this guy was absolutely electric the last season. This guy only knows one speed, and that is putting his pedal through, or putting the pedal to the metal. Certainly dialed up some thrilling finishes here the last time these guys were doing business out on the racetrack. Going up against the likes of Thomas Harmon, who I do not see out here tonight. But hey, if Taylor Butcher Benjamin's in this field, you know it's going to be rowdy out there on the racetrack. Great to see him back in competition, as he is now up 8 positions inside that 7th place position. Supporting the cause here on the low line of the racetrack, and look just how much he has to fight that steering wheel coming out of the 3 and 4 complex there on the bottom. I'm telling you, these drivers are going to be wore out after 100 laps here in the world center of speed right here at Daytona Beach, Florida. Send it up back to the point. Samuel Carter in that 97 John Deere machine. Great throwback looking scheme to Chad Little from back in the day. Continues to work really well with the Kevin Harvick scheme, being piloted by DJ Daniel. Royce Boyer now jumps up into that money position there inside the third place position now. So he has the lock on that final podium spot now. In fact, as soon as I call out what spot is in, he gains another one on the racetrack. He just clawed his way up to second. Look at this 2x2 side-by-side foreign affair here. These four guys at the front, every single one of them wants to lead and nobody wants to give it up. Matty Sizzler there throws the side draft on Daniel. You see he gets a little loose off the bottom. 97 is very aware, great situational awareness there on the racetrack. Knows the 29 had a bobble, able to throw it up to the high side and keep command of this field. We do have a lap car coming off of pit road. I believe that's going to be the 98 of Sam Maxwell here. Hopefully we don't have a Kevin LePage situation. He's going to do a great job staying up out of the way, not impacting these guys here, who I might add are going 10 to 15 miles an hour faster than he is out there on the racetrack. You got to be in this draft, and if you're not, it's going to be like you're out there with just half the horsepower. So you have a lot more speed inside the draft, especially in this Gen 4 car. Now working lap 3 of the scheduled 100 here on Redline Racing Network. Want to thank everyone for tuning in with us right here on your premier esports broadcast leader. Tons of high-flying, high-octane racing action. You want to join the family, support the cause, it's simple. Smash the like button, ring the bell, and you'll get notified each and every time like leagues like DRL are live. You can follow along into your homes, onto your phones, or however you get your eSIM racing content. Right here from Redline Racing Network, big-time move from DJ Daniel. He doesn't want to run second. He wants to go all the way to the point here. He's going to pull alongside Carter. Let's see if DJ Daniel has enough mustard in that Chevrolet. Tell you what, this series is picking right up where they left off. First lap, 10th lap, 14th lap, it doesn't matter. They're going to go out there and try to kill the broadcast booth each and every time they're out there on the racetrack. We're now working lap 14 of 100. Let's go ahead and go through the field. Starting with Samuel Carter, your current leader. Carter runs currently that first place position, and folks, remember, these positions can change an awful lot here in the pack racing, so just bear with me as we go through the field. He's currently your leader, Matt Sizzler, a.k.a. Sizzle Time in the 93 machine from Austin Hills, Michigan. Currently holds down that second place position, while Mr. Wild Child from Bassett, Virginia, I ain't as good as I once was. He's always as good as he's ever been. I know exactly who that is now. DJ Daniel runs in third. In fourth, from Montreal across the border. Up where they have Labatt and Molson Triple X, some of the best beer I ever tasted back when I was up in the Northeast, runs in that fifth place position. Royce Boyer, Florida man, has the plan as always. Currently runs in that sixth place position, up 3 spots from where he started. The 88 TBB Taylor, a.k.a. the Butcher Benjamin, runs in 7th place position, while James Pandolf, the HMFIC, as that position cycles on me here. Looks like we're going to go to Brandon Broby, who rounds out the top 10 as those positions really shuffled there just as I was getting to James Pandolf. Going to go ahead and show him some love. He's went ahead and jumped up the leaderboard on us there. in that move through ride in that 74 machine, runs in that 8th place position. Marcus Chapman comes over from ARL to join DRL competition, currently holds down that 10th place position. Dwayne Hopkins in the 00 up 3 positions, currently owns that 11th place position. Gary Farnsworth in the 42, currently holding on to the back of this draft here. Currently owns that 12th spot. David Keisha, OG here from the series, used to be a league owner himself. He knows how to get it done around here at Daytona. Also does a lot of work to help out the league on the administrative side. Cannot thank him enough for all the help and support. Kenny Thompson there in the 22. He'll be just sitting right here waiting for the big one to happen. One of the best ways to stay out of the nuclear explosion here on the racetrack that only tracks like Daytona and Talladega can produce is to hang out in the back and just wait for the mayhem to break out in front of you. And hopefully you have enough time to get those binders on before you're in it. Survive and be alive. Remember, folks, you cannot win it on lap 1. Newcomer Chris Hogue there in that Michael Waltrip throwback paint scheme. Looks absolutely gorgeous out there on the racetrack from Davenport, Iowa. Currently holds on to 19th and rounding out your top 20. And it looks like he has already taken it to the pits. That is going to be Joel Rowlands that rounds out the top 20 drivers that currently took the green flag here at Daytona. Now send it back up to the point. Matty Sizzler now enjoying the league. This guy, back about 2 years ago, I watched him win a Gen 4 race, or excuse me, a next-gen race. He did a pass in the grass of the ages, won the race by like 3/1000ths of a second, going John Deere mode. You want to talk about a driver that is not afraid to just let it all out on the racetrack. That is Matty Sizzler. Keep an eye on the 93, and with him working with the 29 right now of JP Daniel, or a DJ Daniel, that could be absolutely lethal. And then, in fact, right behind him, you got the powerhouse squad right here with Daniel, Butcher, Benjamin, and Matt Sizzler here on the bottom of the racetrack. Those guys are going to be really strong cars to beat. As you have Carter on the high side of the racetrack now, working with the aid of Hickson. And 20 laps into this race, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to step aside, pay a couple bills, keep the partners happy, but don't worry, we're not going anywhere. We're going to go all out, full action coverage right here on Redline Racing Network. Race fans, welcome back to the World Center of Speed here in Daytona Beach, Florida, as the Redline Racing Network presents the Dynasty Racing League Gen 4 Series. As they've been off for over a year-long hiatus, a hot anticipated return, and these guys have not disappointed one bit through 25 laps of scheduled competition. Remember, we're going 100 laps here. That is the distance. However, we do have overtime in our back pocket. That ace up our sleeve should we need it. As Carter continues to put on one heck of a show here. Oh, almost some contact there between Matty Sizzler, and I believe that was Daniel up there on the high side of the racetrack. Excuse me, that was Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the 88 machine. New number here for Butcher Benjamin this year. Oh, catch your breath. That was almost the don't stain your ride. Use time moment of the race. Hold on to it. Oh, 5 there of Bryce Boyer. Almost gets up into the wall there a little bit. Guys currently wondering about pit strategy. How much more go fast do these drivers have in the fuel cell of their race cars? You can see everyone right now. 26 laps on the current set of Dr. Feelgoods. However, this racetrack really not going to abuse these tires all too that much. However, it is nice to have that added sense of security with some new rubber on the race car, especially when rolling the low line here, getting a big-time push here if you're tight-packed in formation in those lines. One of the biggest movers of the race, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, up there inside the top 5. You can see he's up 10 spots according to the telemetry. We'll keep an eye on that as we continue to go throughout this race. At the top of this broadcast, I was wondering how some of these newcomers were going to intermix with some of the veterans of this series. The Matt Sizzlers, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, the HMFIC, the 74, James Pandolf, David Cation, Marcus Chaffin, and so forth. And so far, I got to say, these guys have overachieved as we went 28 laps of green flag action. All lead in green since the drop of the green flag. I'm going to stop talking about that because, folks at home, I'm telling you, the broadcaster's curse is real. Sometimes I just start showing love to some of these drivers, and just spectacular, unfortunate things happen on the racetrack, and I have to use the forks, some might say. And next thing you know, someone's doing a keg stand into the outside retaining wall. Driver I've been keeping my eye on, though, there he is in the 74 machine, James Pandolf. Cannot thank him for all of his hard work and dedication. Putting this great league back together. Slid back a couple spots. He started up there in that 4th place position, now currently, third, excuse me, now resides in that 5th place position. And I can tell you that's a veteran move from a veteran race car driver. He knows it's Daytona. There's gonna be an explosion. Mayhem is just about certain to happen at some point in time on this racetrack. And I think that's why we've seen him kind of holding back a little bit in the early going. Now he sees the competition, how they're driving out there on the racetrack, starting to get comfortable and familiar with these cars around him. And we can see him starting to surge towards the front on that high side of the racetrack. As we jump on board with James Pandolf. Curious about the speeds he's running in the draft. He's just giving a big-time shove there to the John Deere 97 machine. Go up and throw his telemetry up so you guys can follow at home. See speeds of over 200 miles an hour just entering the corner. 200 miles an hour there before the boom shakalaka effect happens entering these corners here. You guys look like you're doing the jig out there on the dance floor. And eventually, as these laps continue to wind on, so you say on those same set of Goodyear Eagles, this car in the back especially will want to get loose and could step out on you at times, make this car almost turn wicked. You can see how James is just fighting that steering wheel every inch of the way through these high banks. Ooh, JP there had a little bit of a moment, had to kind of back out of the accelerator there. Hickson got a little bit loose coming off the top shelf of the racetrack. Now the 74 is going to give him the business. Woo! Woo, 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 woo! That almost got rowdy. Great job by Taylor Butcher, Benjamin there in the 88 to realize JP was going to have to get out of the loud pedal there. That could have been disastrous. If you're following DJ Daniel here, shouting him out, supporting the cause for the 29 machine, he is off the racetrack there on pit road. Not sure what happened there to DJ Daniel, however, he is on pit lane. However, the camera does not want to cooperate here. Let's see if we can get it this way. You can see him there in his pit for an extended period of time here. Hate to see that for such a strong run here in the early going. We'll continue to monitor DJ Daniel's situation as we now send it back up to the high side of the racetrack as Pandolf now into that P2 position, working with an old friend there in the 88. You want to talk about two guys that know how to work together. Oh, what a save by JP. The 97 threw a bad block, and that almost turned disastrous. Oof, need to catch my breath after that one. Matt Sizzler using a little bit of the sucker hole to make a power move there on the bottom. As he now powers Hickson to the front, using him as the fuel pig. JP's backing up here to the 88 of Benjamin. Let's see if these two try to get a run and split the 97. They don't. The 74 gets a push to the back bumper, decides to back off in the corner. Probably a very smart decision, especially now that we're working 46 laps on these tires. Hickson here continuing to lead with the help of the 93 machine being powered by Matt Sizzler. Or driven by Matt Sizzler, I should say. New scheme, new look, putting some new vibe in his ride here. Digging that bright aqua blue color on that race car. Brandon Roby in the 45 ride Milwaukee Tools, just how I remember it. Last time they were on the racetrack in competition. Let's jump on forward with the 45 ride. Up there from the Northeast New Hampshire, Northfield, the place. I am sorry, but we're on board with Broby, but is Sizzler driving a Kia? That looks like the back of a Kia Stinger. If that's the case, that's a developing story. We're going to have to check on that situation. But right now, this is all about Brandon Broby. You can hear those tires starting to give out. Those good years when we're going from Dr. Feelgoods to Feel Bads. Hear the tires there in the tri-oval. The back end of that race car is stepping out. He's starting to have to burp the throttle there just a little bit. Doing a great job of holding on to it. Tell you what, Carter in that John Deere machine, he's got the good in the neighborhood here at Daytona. That car is a missile, especially out when he is leading the line or the lane. Uh-oh, that could get a little ugly there. No, tell you what, the 97 knows exactly how to get the most out of his race car. There's a little bit of a side draft there on Matt Sizzler, then knows that the outside lane is coming there. Butcher Benjamin working with JP. Methodically just brings it right back up on the racetrack. Doesn't back up the 74's momentum really at all. That's some great mirror driving out of that 97 machine. Dobson there in that 22. He's currently in that 7th place position. A little bit of an aggressive move there from the top to the bottom. He found a slot and he decided he was going to put his race car in it. Tell you what, that outside lane, it's the view and the crowd on the high side of the racetrack. Top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. You got the 3 Musketeers up high, and then it's virtually everyone else working the bottom. Typically, when you have those types of numbers, that bottom lane should prevail. And just as I say that, that bottom lane able to prevail, get ahead here. Oh, big time moment there for the 45. He gets loose. What a save. He just blew all his Popeye's biscuits, I can tell you that, folks. He had that thing pointed every which way but Sunday. Pit stops have started out there on the racetrack. Wayne Hopkins there in the 00, just down on pit road. Lap 26. Oh, here we go. It's the free-for-all for pit road, being led by the 8 of Vixenbaugh. Oh, the 22 off into the grass, able to pull it back on, but it is a pit road free-for-all here as it becomes the hottest joint in the racetrack. Hickson, James Pandolf, Matt Sizzler, Bryce Breuer. The Napa Know-How ride, all down on pit road. You're wondering who stayed out on the racetrack, though. They still have some good numbers here. Taylor Butcher Benjamin elects to stay out with Dave Acacia there, now in that second place position. As they're now going to inherit the lead, but I have to imagine that fuel cell on those race cars have to be low and almost out of Sunoco Racing fuel. We're going to see who did it right here. As these other cars blending back out onto the racetrack. Acacia and Benjamin doing a great job as they're going to surge ahead here. As Matt Sizzler, James Pandolf, Samuel Carter, Marcus Chavin, Bryce Boyer, they all come off of pit road, and they are not grouped very well together to my surprise. This could be playing right into the hands of Butcher, Benjamin, and Acacia. Because I was worried they weren't going to have the numbers as they stayed out there on the racetrack, but somehow that group of cars really got split up on that first pit stop. We're going to see just how much further the 88 and Acacia can go. As you can see, everyone else from Hickson on back, last down on lap 43. Here they come. Oh, Butcher Benjamin has a small miscue. He slides it into the grass. He goes plowboy mode. Gonna bring it on, back onto the racing surface there. No harm, no foul, but a little bit of a sketchy moment there for the 88 as Dave Acacia locks it into his pit. See the Jack going to work on both those race cars. We're going to follow the 17 as he's down and away. Also, Taylor Butcher, Benjamin, those two are going to remain dance partners. And that's how you get it done there on pit road. You want to stay tightly grouped together. That way you can benefit from having that draft, that extra power, that extra performance out there on the racetrack. And we're going to see how these two cycle out as you can start to see some of the last group of leaders coming through the through the tri-oval, excuse me. As they are giving it everything they have to try and come up to speed here. Uh-oh, they're side by side. I'm not sure if that's what they wanted. And they're about to get split. Oh, God, here we go. Mayhem pops out. James Pandolf involved. Oh, God, no. I was just going to say, you don't want to. Oh. And the first caution for incident comes out on lap 47 as an exchange went wrong between the 88 and the 17. But that's still a heck of a run for these drivers. 48 laps without having a caution, holding on for dear life. And it all goes wrong coming off of pit road. Let's go back to the Redline Racing Network instant replay. We're going to go ahead, slow it down, cue playback. We're going to go to the eye in the sky here. You see the 88 and 17, they're trying to figure out who wants to lead. The 8's going to take it all the way, go John Deere mode into the grass. Matt Sizzler is going to try to split the seam. The 74 has no idea the 17 is there. And absolutely donkey punches Acacia, jacks the back of that race car up in the air. And Pandolf is along for the ride. Going to go VHS old school mode here. We're going to wind this back. I know Kevin LePage in the field has been something we talk about ever since it happened, but that was just, I think, some confusion there coming off of pit road, who they wanted to lead. We're now going to jump on board with Pandolf. You can see those two cars coming off of pit road. That's the 88 and the 17 Vacacia. It's hard to see the car in front of you at times, let alone 3-4 cars ahead. Now watch what happens here. Pandolf's going to be tucked in line behind Matty Sizzler, and these guys are at full tilt here. I mean, they are bringing they have all the bookie built up right now. I have to slow down to quarter speed. Now watch the tachometer on Pandolf's car. It starts to burp right there. He lets out of the throttle. There goes Sizzler. And then absolutely just hello bonsais the back of the 17. Had no idea it was coming. That last minute move there by Sizzler was almost like a blind pick in basketball. And by the time, Pandolf had any sight of vision at all, it just went bad for him. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Very unfortunate for the driver of the 74. As mayhem erupts here at Daytona. In fact, let's talk with the driver. Talk with the driver of the 74 machine, the HMFIC of the league, James Pandolf. Matt, up in the booth, you got a copy there, bud.
Yes, I do. How are you?
Well, first of all, man, I want to thank you so much for working so hard to put this great league back together. You guys were putting on a clinic. Then it seemed like there was a miscue something went wrong between Butcher Benjamin and Dave Acacia coming off of pit road. And it was almost like Kevin LePage in the field. We went on board with you. We saw that you were absolutely blind until it was too late. Walk me through what happened from your point of view on the racetrack.
Yeah, Matt, it was just one of those crazy timings. You had those couple of lap cars on, the guys coming up to speed from pitting, and then us going, normal speed already on the track for a lap or two after pitting. So it was just one of those bad timings.
Yeah, it certainly was, man. How bad's the damage on that race car? Can you get it fixed? Do you think it'll be able to hold up in the pack?
So I had 1 minute and 8 seconds of optional. I don't know what the RPM is once I hold the clutch in to see if I have any major engine damage, but hopefully I'll be good to go for the rest of this one.
Well, hey, man, I want to thank you for taking a moment to speak with us up here in the broadcast booth. And again, thanks for all of your hard work, Dave included, in getting this great league put back together. Hope you have a good race or good run the rest of the way, my friend.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us, Matt, this year with broadcasting us. Looking forward to the rest of the Winter Series and then the 2025 regular season.
That's right, man. Hey, it was September 2023 when you put this league on hiatus, and as you know, this was my most look forward to broadcast of the week. So glad DRL is back and quite frankly picking right up where you guys left off. Now halfway home, 50 laps in the books. James, we'll let you get back to it, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your time. And there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, you're interested in joining DRL. You think would it have what it takes to be out here in the field? Get in touch with him on Discord. Reach out to me. I'll put you in the right direction. Still plenty of time to get in on all the action here in the Dynasty Racing League. Now going to shuffle the deck here one more time as this field gets racked, stacked, ready to rock and roll. One more time here from the World Center of Racing in Daytona Beach, Florida. Green flag back in the air. Slam on the gas pedal. These glorious V8s come roaring back to life here in prime time. Hickson continues to pilot the way. He's going to have Taylor Butcher Benjamin with help on the bottom. But watch that 79 pounder. That John Deere knows how to go places here, and he has been a force to be reckoned with since the initial drop of the green flag. Now climbing back up to the rear box. These guys know how to bring the business getting good in your neighborhood. Again, I want to thank James Pandolf for taking some time out of his race to speak with us up here in the broadcast booth. as we now get back up to speed here from Daytona. Also, cannot do this on the broadcast side of things without all the partners and strategic family alliance. I want to thank Black Magic, our official custom race design partner. In fact, you guys looking to put some vibe back in your ride, get out of the static, go see the guys at Black Magic. David, Woody, and those guys will absolutely revive. We like the ride. In fact, it's good for 2/10 out there on the racetrack. You can count on it. Reach out to the guys at Black Magic. In fact, tell them the Dynasty Racing Group sent you. Some of the best looking paint schemes out there on the iRacing surfers. Black Magic will be glad you checked them out. Oh, look who's out in front now. Ha-ha! Butcher Benjamin, welcome back to the lead in the Dynasty Racing League. I was wondering how long it would take for the 88 to return to his former glory here in the series. Look at Acacia. He said he wasn't in it to win it. And he's got that Killer Bees DeWalt machine. They're in P2 working with the 97 of Carter and the 22 of Thompson's there as well. Big push there from the 8 and 88. It's kind of like watching old school and new wave Dale Earnhardt working together there in the bottom of the racetrack. Woo! Woo! Are you kidding me? Thompson just dialed up a can opener. I don't know how he fit that race car in there. It's at the 45. That was a 42. Barnesworth Jr. had to burp the throttle there. There was no way. He got lucky because he almost got lit. Speaking of getting lit, that little ride the 74 went for seems to up the excitometer inside the cockpit of JP's race car. Because he just put a move out there on the field as well. You know, sometimes it'll happen as a race car driver. You're out there just kind of buying time, logging laps, and then something happens, you get put in a bad spot, or you get, well, in this case, you have a race car thrown at you blindside. That green flag drops again, you become an animal inside the cockpit of that race car. Clearly, that has awakened the beast inside the 17 and the 74. Now working lap 56 of 100 here on Redline Racing Network. We're going to step aside, pay some bills, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back from Daytona with the remainder of right here on Redline Racing Network. Race fans, good evening and welcome back to Redline Racing Network as the Dynasty Racing League Winter Series returns to the iRacing.com servers and quite frankly, right to where they left off when we last had the opportunity to watch them compete out there on the racetrack. Can't believe it has been over a year since these guys took to the high banks, but nonetheless, the wait is over in DRL. Some of the best Gen 4 racing you can find in iRacing is back where they belong here in prime time. I'm Matt Metler, the voice of the Dynasty Racing Series, back up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Room, and it has been a thriller as Donald Hickson continues to lead here. He carries the torch over Samuel Cotter, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Kenny Thompson, Dave Acacia, and James Pandolf as they round out the top five. Go ahead and throw the timing tower back up on the screen so you guys can follow along at home or on your phones or wherever you get. Sim broadcasting content right here from Redline Racing Network. So glad you guys are joining us for the ride here tonight. Let's see if I can pull up one of the drivers here into the broadcast booth. See if they're still hanging around here. And unfortunately, I don't see them in the chat anymore. But I was going to pull up DJ Daniel, who retired from this race early. However, he does not appear to be in Discord any longer at this time. If he does return, we'll try to get him up here in the broadcast booth. Not only is he a wild man out there on the racetrack, knows how to get it done, he has quite the personality as well. In fact, he used to be my official in-race reporter at one time. Taylor Butcher Benjamin flexing some muscle as he is out there now leading. Oh, here we go again. No! I thought we were about to have another pit road massacre. Did you see that move? Heavens to Betsy. This is something I a lot of times don't want to do, but we're going to pump the brakes here. Let's wind this back. You got to see this. Now, remember, this is at speeds at 200 miles an hour. You roll it back here a little further. That ought to be good. And cue playback. We're going to slow this down here in 3, 2, 1. Go to the eye in the sky here. The 97 and the 17 have a meeting of the minds. Carter gets slung down the racetrack. That should be game over from that point forward. He gathers up that race car, gets it back. Are you kidding me? Onto the asphalt just before he goes Baja mode. Some insane, wild driving from these drivers out here in prime time. Absolutely incredible. We're not going back to the live side of things. How Carter is in third, I'll never know. I mean, it's one of those deals where if you blink, you missed it. Straight up. Now, 66 laps written in the history book. This is the time of the race, well, probably north of lap 70, but we're getting there, where you're going to see the intensity start to come up another level, and some of these guys that may have been holding back just a little bit. Perhaps drivers like Breuer that runs in that 11th place position just outside the top 10. His battle buddy, Marcus Chaffin, following right along there in line in that 18 machine. Sam Maxwell runs 13th. Ralph Rosado Sr. runs 14th. How about Greg Spiker? Want to shout him out? I remember him from the Demon Truck Series early on in the season. Great to see him back out in competition. Great veteran driver, ton of leadership, or leadership skills, I should say, inside the cockpit of that 10 machine. Great asset to have here in this league. Happy to see Greg out here in competition tonight. Now send it back up to the front. Little tandem drag racing here at John Force Special down the backstretch. Remember, Pandolf has some damage to that 74 machine. That car is wounded a little bit aerodynamically, and he is doing a heck of a job as he now runs third in that bottom train. Ooh, a little shuffle there. As these drivers are probably starting to feel a little bit of fatigue right now, especially if they haven't had the reps, especially at this 2008 legacy version of Daytona. It is like a wooden roller coaster ride, or you have a car with hydraulics popping it up in the air. Same effect of what these guys feel inside the cockpit of these race cars. And after 70 laps, it is starting to take a toll on your fingers, your hands, your forearms. And about 4 weeks ago, JP in that 74 machine, who runs third on the inside line, pushed me to a second place finish. And I'm telling you guys, the last 30 laps, I could not feel I couldn't feel my extremities. I don't know how I held on, didn't crash, didn't wreck anyone else. But I know what these guys are going through right now. Especially if you don't have the reps in. Now working lap 70, that's 30 laps remaining in the season opener here in the Dynasty Racing League Winter Series. And again, this is just starting to turn the wick back up. After we complete the Winter Series, we're going to go to the full-blown 2025 season. Last time I'll try to make a guest appearance out there on the racetrack, perhaps for one of the races. Maybe I'll make a return at Indy. I had so much fun out there racing with those guys. My broadcast partner at the time, Liam Irving, didn't know. He was madder than a Keebler elf that got demoted to Fudge Packer that I was out there on the racetrack, but and he still is to this day. JP's listening. He knows what I'm talking about. Tell you what, Samuel Carter, he has got the goods in that John Deere machine, man. He knows how to keep this car at the point. Very impressive drive from that 97. But I'm not going to go to sleep yet on the veterans in this field. The 88, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. The 74, James Pandolf. Brandon Broby there in that 45 machine, the silent but deadly assassin. I mean, you want to talk about a sleeper in the field? That's his MO, Brandon Broby, right here in the 45 run. He doesn't like to be talked about out there on the racetrack. Don't worry about what I'm doing. And when it comes down to go time, he is going to put that Milwaukee Tools machine to the front. I am currently talking here. I'll move in a second. Okay, I'm trying to cover a race. As I was saying, Brandon Broby there runs in that 8th place position. We'll continue to see if he tracks further up towards the front. Another driver there, David Acacia, in 7th place, up 10 positions from where he started, having a great run. Other than that miscue coming off of pit road there, and I'm not, again, really sure what that was. I think they were trying to figure out who wanted to lead, and another group of cars was coming, and fireworks followed suit. You say we go ahead and run through the field. We'll go on board with the driver as well. Currently leading in the 97 machine. Throwback to Chad Little, the driver. Samuel Carter currently carries the torch here at Daytona. Donald Dixon doing all the bull work and the pushing. Working on the cushion on the back door of the 97. That is Donald Dixon Jr. in second. Kenny Thompson currently rolls in that third place position. Up 10 spots from where he started. Gary Farnsworth Jr. in that 42 having a great run here around inside the top 5 in fourth. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, one of the most winningest drivers in the series, currently in that 5th place position, while James Pandolf, Damaged Race Car and all, currently holds on to 6th. The Jackson, New Jersey man, Jave Acacia, currently helps out on the administrative side of things in the league and does a lot behind the scenes. Cannot thank him enough for everything that he does. Runs in that 7th place position. OG Brandon Broby in the 45 ride, currently 8th. Well, in the Kia Stinger, we're going to have to talk about this one. Matty Sizzler in the 93 machine, a.k.a. Sizzle Time, runs in 9th. From Montreal, up there in the farther northeast. However, the beautiful up there this time of the year runs in that 10th place position, while Bryce Broyer, Florida man, not too far from me, currently in that 11th place position, while Marcus Chapman from Hawkinsville, Georgia, currently runs in 12th. Sam Maxwell in the 98 machine currently runs 13th. Old brother Ralph Fonzo Sr. from Brooklyn, New York, my home state, currently runs just inside the top 14 in that 14th place position, while Greg Spiker nicknamed Gas, as that is my initials. Well, he's got all the penalties under the hood rumbling. He currently rounds out the top 15. Dwayne Hopkins, DJ Daniel, and Chris Hogue have all parked it on pit road. That leaves with 15 cars out there in competition as we speak right now. Just 23 laps remaining. You see these cars once again a single file out there on the racetrack. That could signify that we could be looking at another round of green flag pit stops before this one is all said and done, written into the history books. Pull up the pit strategy vector here. You can see these drivers went 43 laps, some 46, like Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Currently 30 laps into this stint. If some of these drivers try to stretch it, I don't think so. But then again, we've seen some of these guys pull off things that I didn't think possible in this series before. So that's another storyline to follow here from Daytona. Do they have to do a splash and go to some of these guys that went a little bit further on the racetrack, like Acacia, like Butcher Benjamin? They run in 5th and 8th position right now. Did that 2 extra laps, they stay out? Perhaps propel them to have enough go fast in the tank to get it done here should we come to a natural finish, and that's a key word there. Just 21 laps remaining. We're going to step aside for the final time here on Redline Racing Network. We're going to go all-out coverage, and then we'll resume with the conclusion of the race. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a couple moments. Good evening, race fans. Welcome back to Redline Racing Network as we resume coverage here from Daytona Oh my God, I can't speak at the moment. I apologize. From Daytona Beach, Florida, as we come back for the conclusion of the league opener, or season opener, I should say. The Dynasty Racing League, their long-awaited hiatus. I'll tell you what, their return has definitely been worth the wait, as these guys have virtually picked up right where they left off. I wondered how some of these newcomers would clash with some of the series veterans, and I have to say, these guys have put on one heck of a thriller here. Everything that you would expect from Dynasty Racing League, you know, green flag to flag, green flag action, just one caution for incident out there on the racetrack. That is absolutely remarkable, especially given all the new talent here in the field tonight. And I think it's okay to talk about him now. Taylor Butcher Benjamin carries the torch here as we're now under 15 laps to go, and that is cold. As my counterpart is putting bottles of frozen water on me up here in the broadcast booth. Always a live wild party up here in this thing. That's cold. Donald Hickson Jr. in the 8, pushing the 88, and that is just messing with my mind right now. Me being a NASCAR fan since I was a little guy, dating back all the way to the 1993 Daytona 500, during the Dale and Dale show. I got to watch Earnhardt Jr. come up through the Xfinity Series, make his debut in the Cup Series, and, you know, much of his early years drove that number 8 machine that you see right there on the high side of the racetrack. And then as he went back to Hendrick, my God, that nothing runs like a deer out here on the racetrack. Carter continues to crank it up. And then you have the 88 there of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. I'm pretty sure the last time he was in competition, he drove the 8. I could be wrong. I'll have to check that. Pit stops completed just as we went away for a wide open all-access coverage break. So now we have all the fuel in the tank to get us to the finish of this one. Another driver that's creeping back up here on the high side of the racetrack. No help, no problem. The Kia. The Kia Stinger. Matty Sizzler. I'm pretty sure that's a Kia Stinger. It looks like the back of a Stinger. Perhaps we'll have a chance to talk about that in the broadcast booth, especially if he's finished where he's running right now. So we have a 7-car breakaway here. This is the lead pack after pit stops. Then you have to go about 13 seconds back here. Then you're going to find the 45 of Brandon Broby, the 74 of James Pandolf, Bryce Boyer there, currently working with his partner in crime, Marcus Chapman, there in the 18. These are the final 2 cars on the lead lap as they run in 10th and 11th. Broby, Pandolf holding down 8th and 9th. So that's basically 8th through 11th there on the racetrack. These guys can really use a caution, and not in that way. Oh, God. Little self-inflicted concrete poisoning there from the ALR-sponsored machine. Oh, the sun peeks out here at Daytona. I'm going to have to put my sunglasses on. So we are virtually under overcast skies for most of this race. The sun's going to peek out there for a moment. Sun stayed out there for longer. That can really spice up things on the racetrack. You can see coming out of the 3-4 complex, that track temperature is now in Florida sunshine. In fact, let's pull up the weather, see if that's going to affect the track temp at all. We're still holding at 70 degrees air ambient temperature, 67% relevant humidity, so that's down a couple points. However, that track temp is starting to go up. Remember, there's some fresher rubber on these tires right now, but you've seen at the end of these long green flag runs how those back ends of these race cars were checking out. The 97 throws another howitzer towards the bottom of the racetrack. Reminds me of DJ Daniel type things out there at Daytona. Unfortunate he had to retire from this races. He's another electric person out there in the field. A lot of times we see him in the 96. However, that number by that EA Sports driver, throwing it back perhaps to NASCAR EA Sports 2003 Thunder. If I remember that scheme correctly from back in the day. And don't forget, David Keisha is lurking here. He is in it to win it. He is a part of this lead draft with now just 8 laps to go. Let's go on board with Father Dave, driver of the Killer Bees 17. Throwing it back to Matt Hensley. Look how he is just fighting that steering wheel. There we go. There's Father Dave. Track temp creeping up a little bit. Now up to 76 degrees. We'll go ahead and get that out of the way for you guys. Clear that out. Just in front of him, the man, the myth, the legend, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Royer now leads that second group of cars, but they are still about 17 and a half seconds back. So they will need a yellow flag if they want to become a part of the winning factor in this one. Man, look at the way the back end of that race car is stepping out on the A. Look at that car washing out. Ton of skew in that race car working the bottom. Some of these drivers may not have took tires either. That is a possibility to maximize their time there on pit road. Go ahead down and widen things now as we're now on the gentleman's handshake lap. 5 laps remaining. Looks like that 98 machine of Maxwell got a little swirly back there in the field. He gets it back up on the racetrack. But it's going to come down to these 7 drivers right here. Lap traffic gets out of Dodge. He's going to run the top shelf of the racetrack, run the fishbowl. Great job getting out of the way. That's how you do it out there on the racetrack. Get on the radio, ask these leaders where they want you to go. Oh man, that 22 makes big moves again. He tried to get down and kick up the draft so hard he almost put it in the flatlands. Kenny Thompson. Tell you what, the vets of the series starting to shine here. Look no further than the 2 drivers in the outside lane. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, TBB. Matty Sizzle Time Sizzler in the Kia. We're going to talk about that. Then you have Nothing Runs Like a Deer. The John Deere, oh, they sling him. Guys at home, I can't tell you how many races I've called at Daytona. Typically, in most other leagues, you start throwing cars around like that from the top to the bottom. Bottom there, or Hicks had just about lost his nose. I mean, bad things happen. Nuclear explosion, cars doing cake stands into the fence. There's absolute mayhem everywhere. Parts raining into the RV lot, and these guys just seemed to have the fixer for it. Big time side draft from the 93 and 97. They almost had an up close and personal moment. The 8, where did he come from? He's going to put a Louisville slider on the 88 at TBB. Now just 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks go in the air. Typically at Daytona, you don't want to be leading 2 laps to go. You don't want to be leading on the final lap. You want to make that move coming out of the 3-4 complex. As they fire down the backstretch, the 97, Samuel Carter, continues to lead the torch or carry the torch here. Comes up with a little bit of an aggressive side draft. What a save by the 97. He almost got spun off the nose from that big push from the high side. Popsicle sticks come down. Just 1 lap to go around here at the World Center of Speed from Daytona Beach, Florida. On the high side of the racetrack, the 97 is Samuel Carter. Continues to work in between both lanes. Now he's going to send it down, looking for Taylor Butcher Benjamin to give him a shove through the 1 and 2 complex. They're going to drag race down the backstretch. It's the high line versus the low line, eating on the bottom. The bottom lane has more numbers, but the 3, or they were nicely filed on the high side of the racetrack. Oh, there's a problem. The 96 comes up and poke checks to Hickson out of the way. And at the line, returning to the front of the field and reclaiming his dominance in the DRL Dynasty Racing League, Taylor Butcher Benjamin does it again. Picking right up where he left off. Carter, oh, so close. What a finish here in Talladega as Matty Sizzler is going to come home 4th. Farnsworth 5th, Acacia 6th. Let's wind it back there to the winning moment.
Great race, everybody. 1 caution, not too bad.
Going to back it up here just a little bit. How did Taylor Butcher Benjamin make the move at the right time to win this race? The 97 just lost all that momentum, and that's going to allow that bottom to prevail. Benjamin makes the right move at the right time, as I said, coming out of the 3-4 complex. And Taylor Butcher Benjamin going to pick right back up where he left off here with a big-time win at Daytona. Absolute mastery here at Daytona. I knew these drivers would come through with the reboot and all. New drivers, no problem. So we're going to talk to our top 3 finishers here up in the broadcast booth. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, your winner, as he burns it down through the grass. Wait for these drivers to join us here in the broadcast waiting room. Or in fact, we'll just come right down to him. TBB, Matt up in the booth. You got a copy, my man.
I got you.
Well, hey, man, first and foremost, welcome back to DRL, my friend. And you're kind of picking up right where you left off. First of all, let's talk about this race tonight. You have some of you OG guys from the last time we ran, and I can't believe it's been over a year. A lot of new faces out here in the field tonight. Did you have any worry, or how did you plan on attacking this race with some of the guys that you were unaccustomed to racing with here in the early going?
Well, I mean, starting mid-pack, because I almost didn't even join the race in time. I knew I had a lot of work to do there, but I was planning on working with some of the familiar faces, but they just kind of looked like they had their own plan, just kind of riding around. And, like, you know, after about 10 or 12 laps, I got an idea about who was working with who. And I'll tell you, the 8 and the 97, they look like Dale Jr. and Michael Waltrip from, you know, way back in the early 2000s, the way they were hooked up. And they were the ones to beat for sure, but they just kind of got tangled up there going into 3, and the gap opened up for me, and yeah, here we are starting the season in victory lane. Although, I mean, the first half of the race for me, I executed it rather poorly, I think. I mean, the 29 blew up in front of me. I had nowhere to go, and then the green flag pit stop ended up in the grass, and was lucky not to get a penalty. And then exiting pit road, I was go to work with a 17, but he was kind of a little slow exiting, and probably a little impatience on my part. I tried to sneak underneath him and didn't realize the pack was charging that hard, like at least 2 wide behind us. So that was probably my bad, but overall a good race to begin for everybody, and looking forward to getting this league back up and running again.
Yeah, you're reading my mind right now. Watching those 2 cars out there on the racetrack reminded me, I said it on the broadcast, of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Michael Waltrip, or how about, the 88, when you were working with the 8, that was, reminded me of, watching, both eras of Dale Earnhardt Jr., if you will, when he came into the series running the 8, and then his later days, you looking a lot like out him, especially on that final lap in that 88 machine. I mean, I said on the broadcast, I said, don't count out these veterans. A lot of guys, if they haven't been watching DRL racing competition live here on Redline Racing Network, I mean, you were one of the guys that we could almost count on, bet on, to put that car, in victory lane. All the great battles we watched you in the past with Thomas the Hammer Harmon. And I said live on the broadcast, I said, you watch Taylor Butcher Benjamin coming out of the 3 and 4 complex. He's going to put a move on these guys. And that's exactly what you did, man. I'm so pumped up from you. Welcome back here to DRL. Way to open up the season with a big-time W at Daytona. Before we cut you loose, brother, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on that 88?
I definitely want to thank James for getting the league back up and running, and hope he's doing well. And, since it's still September, almost over, it's National Suicide Prevention Month, and so just everyone battling mental health issues, including myself. I mean, we're all thinking about y'all, and so got them in the back of my mind. And of course, thanks you guys for putting on the broadcast for everybody.
Hey, certainly appreciate watching you out there and the rest of these guys doing things in the Gen 4 side of things that typically no other league I have seen do on the server. You guys picked up right where you left off, and thanks for being out there in competition tonight, Taylor. Appreciate you joining me up here in the booth. We'll let you go celebrate this one with your team, buddy.
Yep, thank you. Hope to keep the momentum going into next week, and hopefully have a good season.
Well, hey, man, no way to start a season off with a win, and you got all that momentum on your side. Something tells me we'll be talking to you again very soon, brother.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen, your leader, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, picking right up where he left off here the last time this series took to competition. Nobody circles the wagons like the driver of the 88. That is, once again, the one and only Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Thanks for joining me up here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth.
Yep, thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, looking now for our second place finisher here tonight, Samuel Carter in that 97 machine. See if we can find Samuel Carter here. There he is. Gonna see if I can drag and drop him in. Let's actually send him over to the booth here. There we go. Samuel Carter, Matt up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy there, boss?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Well, hey, brother. First and foremost, what a heck of a drive from you tonight. That John Deere had a lot of know-how out there on the racetrack. One of the other drivers just said it looked like you and Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in the day working together out there on the racetrack. How were you able to put together such a dominating performance tonight? Obviously, you come up a little bit short, but you had one heck of a drive here from the drop of the green flag. Walk me through your run tonight.
Yeah, man, I think really I just had a good qualifying lap there. Had some good practice today. We're just trying to run a clean lap. I kind of let everybody else move around, do their thing, and not worry about them. And then really just I got hooked up with the 8. Shout out to the 8 too, man. Me and him pushed each other for I'd say 90% of this race here. Great working with him. It was kind of heartbreaking there at the end, losing it in 3 and 4. I think we just side drafted a little too hard. But hey, man, it was a great race. Shout out to 88. Good win for him though, brother. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you in the series. Talk to me about the track conditions. Obviously, this is the Legacy 2008, and it is like a wooden roller coaster out there. Just how tough and grueling on you is it as a driver out there fighting the car for 100 laps around this place?
Yeah, it was a little bit tougher because I do usually run a little bit newer car and on the newer track there as well. But it's a lot of fun. Definitely a massive workout the past hour or so we've been running here. But I loved it. Loved the league so far. Shout out to James as well. I know 88 said it too, but the league so far looks great. I can't wait to finish out the season here.
Certainly is a star-studded lineup, and I'm telling you, the last time I was up here in the broadcast booth for an entire season, it was some of the best Gen 4 racing on the iRacing.com servers, and you look like a great addition. Anyone you want to thank, who helps you get it done, man, before you cut you loose in that 97 machine?
Yeah, like I said, number 8, man. I hope to hook up with him again next race. He pushed great. He got hot. We'd spot places. So, again, the number 8, big shout out to him. Too bad. I was hoping we get a P1, P2 finish there, but, you got to fight for the win there. But besides that, had a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys were fun to watch, to work together, like you mentioned there. A little Daytona action at the end, a little too aggressive of side drafting. But, hey, that's plate track racing at its finest. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, newcomer to the series. Puts a big-time flex on the field. Comes up just a little bit short. Driver of the John Deere machine. That is the 97, Samuel Carter. Thanks for joining me up here in the booth, man.
Yes, sir. You too, Matt. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. 2 down, 1 to go. Ladies and gentlemen, looking for our third place finisher from up there across the border. Going to see if we can find him here in the Discord chat. Take a peek for him one more time. Matt up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy there, boss?
Yes, sir.
Hey, before I go any further, I don't want to butcher your name anymore. How do I pronounce your first and last name, sir?
It's Maxime Le Breton.
I may struggle with the last name there, but I'm going to do my best to get it right, man. First of all, welcome to DRL. And what a heck of a way to start this, kick the series off, I should say, as you come home with a strong performance here tonight. Walk me through your third place finish this evening.
Well, I did take a chance by not taking tire at the last stop. I was hoping to not lose the pack without taking tires, but I scrapped the wall a little bit, but I put it for a P3.
Yeah, P3, a great run for you tonight. You mentioned the tires. Did they play a factor out there on the racetrack, or was your car pretty hooked up throughout the course of the race tonight?
For the first stint, the tire was good, but at the end, the 2-tire call was the best call because I was losing speed in the turns. When I wanted to stay high to push I think the 93 was in front of me, but the tires was dead at the end.
Well, thank you, Max, for that analysis and breakdown out there on the racetrack. Again, from Montreal, have a Labatt Blue or a Molson Triple X for me. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, so not that far from you back when I was growing up. Anyone you want to thank or you want to shout out before I cut you loose?
Well, thanks for organizing the league.
Well, absolutely, man. We'll let you go and enjoy this third place podium finish. Having a great strategy vector out there on the racetrack. Another newcomer comes through big at Daytona. That is the driver of the 96. That is the one and only Max. Thank you for joining me up here in the booth, my friend. And that is for going to wrap up our interviews here. Ladies and gentlemen, want to thank everyone for joining us here for the Dynasty Racing League opener from Daytona. Only one thing left to do. Let's go over the final results here tonight as we've spoken to the top 3 finishers. And I got to tell you, folks, what a phenomenal race it was. So many question marks. Could the new addition to the series, how would they mesh with some of the OG drivers, the big names from the last time they were out there in competition? And I'll tell you what, cannot thank enough for James Pandolf, Dave Acacia for all their hard work putting on those recruitment races. And this field put on one heck of a show. Only one caution for incident out there on the racetrack. Just what you come to expect from DRL is they put on one heck of an opener in Taylor Butcher Benjamin. No, no beat. Got one out there and got the win. Absolutely incredible. And then 2 of the young guns in the series, Samuel Carter and Max, coming home with 2nd and 3rd place finishes. Could not ask for a better opener, in my personal opinion. Hopefully you guys at home agree. Let's go ahead and pull up the final results here. Come on, work with me, results. Results are so fired up from the end of this race. There we go. We just got to get them to come one row back. And again, your winner tonight, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Samuel Carter rounds out that 2nd place position. In 3rd, Max, you heard from him from Montreal. Matt Sisler comes home in 4th, rounding out the top 5. That's newcomer Gary Fainsworth Jr. OG Dave Acacia, thank you again for all of your help. Comes outside, rounds out the top 6 as he comes home up 11 positions from where he started. 7th belongs to Donald Hickson Jr. Again, you heard big props to him from the driver of the 88 and the driver of the 97. He was involved in a last lap mayhem there, coming to the finish line, but he still gets himself a top 10 in that 7th place position. Marcus Chapman rounds out the 8th place position, while Bruce Boyer comes home 9 in the 5 ride. Brandon Broby rounds out the top 10. HMFIC, James Pandolf comes home 11th, while Ralph Faciano Jr. rounds out your top 13th. 14th belongs to Greg Spiker, and 15th, Kenny Thompson running out your top 15. Dwayne Hopkins has a 00 machine in that 16th place position, while DJ Daniel, who was fast and furious early on, blew his motor prematurely. That's going to get him a 17th place result, but watch for him next week, folks, to light it up. That's a driver you have to keep an eye on. Chris Hogue rounds out that 18th position, while 19th in that 11 machine, Dusty White and Joe Rowlands rounds out the 20 drivers that took the initial green flag here at Daytona tonight. Well, like all good things, most things must come to an end, including this broadcast. Cannot thank James Pandolf, Dave Acacia, and the rest of the drivers that showed up here tonight and put on an incredible performance. Also got to shout out Black Magic, Team Watson Racing Setups, all part of Redline Racing Network Strategic Alliance. Thank you for all that you do to support all the series here at Redline Racing Network and the strategic partnerships of all the series involved. And lastly, as a late, great Tony Trapasso used to say, ladies and gentlemen, as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor, don't play in traffic, and we'll catch you next time right here on Redline Racing Network.